I'm a member of the Further and Higher Education, Research, Innovation and Science Committee, quite a long name, as quite a number of us here are. And we've been focusing on apprenticeships for the last few months at committee level, and we are in the process of publishing a report that should be published very, very soon. And as we were looking at what we could do to improve apprentices, the lives for apprentices and the apprenticeship model here in Ireland. And in that process here, we met with a lot of different people. We met with employers, we met with ETB, the Solace, we met with unions. But I suppose the most important voice, we have to say, is the apprentice voice in all of that. And I suppose the issue for a lot of apprentices, particularly when they take on the first, start an apprenticeship in the first couple of years, is the pay, the very, very poor levels of pay. And both apprentices that presented at the committee, but apprentices I've been talking to at home in Cavan as well, are saying maybe €7 an hour or £8.50 an hour for the second year. I mean, I was talking to one lad, and after he finished school, he did a particular job or a particular course for a few years, and then at 23 he decided to go into do an apprentice electrician course, and he went back to earning €7 an hour. I mean, I know it will increase as time goes by, and I know when he's qualified he will be able to charge a high rate, because they're like hen's teeth. You can't get plumbers or electricians and so forth. But we need to treat our apprentices better, because they are older. Like, I was talking to an employer at the weekend, and he was saying the average age of an apprentice now is 25. So apprentices are coming in older. Many of them have families. They may have a mortgage, or maybe renting. And so we need to look at some targeted financial supports for people in those positions, because I mean, the option to choose where you do your off-the-job training isn't given, and we were looking at maybe some sort of a ranking preference where people could choose, where they might want to go, and if that's not possible, that they get additional financial support. Like, for example, I'm from Cavan, so if someone is doing their off-the-job training in Dundalk or Sligo or Athlone, they can travel to that place on a daily basis. But if they have to do their off-the-job training down in Waterford or Cork, that's not possible. So they may end up paying double rent. They're paying the rent for where they live, or the mortgage where they live, and then they're paying rent for the few months that they're there as well. Another thing is tools or equipment. Now, some employers are in a position to provide the tools or equipment. Now, Bus Éireann, for example, were on front of the committee, and they provide tools for their apprentice mechanics. But not all employers are in a position to do that. So a grant, I think, for tools and equipment should be made available for those who find that it could be a barrier to the participation otherwise. We need to create positive awareness of apprenticeships and promote examples of success. So, Caitlin, you're very welcome, and I think you are a huge success and have done more for apprenticeships and indeed female participation in apprenticeships than any of us talking here tonight or in the previous months. And by the way, you're an excellent dancer as well, and the best of luck on Dancing with the Stars. But we need to promote stories like that so that we encourage young people to take them up. Our career guidance is curtailed. We need increased hours at second level and career guidance, but we need also for our career guidance teachers to promote apprentices as much as they promote other third level options to our students. My son is doing his Leaving Cert at the moment, and his career guidance teacher has not talked to him about apprenticeships. I asked him, so anything he's heard about it is from me. Like, when he's considering different options he can take up after school. So we need to see a lot more done at second level. Minister, you mentioned the Traveller Apprenticeship Incentivisation Programme, and it's a pilot programme. Like, I'm hoping that there are plans to make this a permanent programme and to make sure that there's long-term sustainable funding put in place to support this programme, because providing bursaries for travellers has encouraged and increased the number of travellers taking part. However, I do think also that there needs to be a link for employers for travellers or people from other disadvantaged backgrounds, or even from rural backgrounds where there aren't a lot of employers in the locality who are in a position to take on apprenticeships, and young people may not know who to reach out to get an apprenticeship. And if we could put in links to employers as well, it would be helpful. People with additional needs as well are very lowly represented in the number of people who are taking up apprenticeships, and the National Learning Network could provide an inclusive pathway to an apprenticeship. And we also need to see more pre-apprenticeship places available, because they're oversubscribed at the moment, and they do help people from disadvantaged backgrounds to progress to an apprenticeship. We also need to see all information around apprenticeships provided in an accessible way as well, for people with learning difficulties or with a disability. I suppose the curriculum needs to be adaptable as well, and keeping up with the changes in modern technology, but also aligning with what apprentices are actually doing on the job phases as well. And we do need to expand facilities and increase the number of teachers or instructors we have, because there's a waiting list in certain areas and for off-the-job training, and people end up then spending longer than they should doing an apprenticeship, which should be 4 years, maybe spending 5 to 6 years. In the North, they have a social value procurement model, which I think is worth looking at here as well. And I mean, it would have been talked about public sector participation in apprenticeships should be mandated, and targets are set again to, for underrepresented groups within that. But I mean, there's a 10% section on scoring in the public sector on the basis of gender and maybe social class or people from different areas of discrimination, to encourage more to be included and be taken on apprenticeships within the public sector. We talked about many other things, and better support for small and medium enterprises to take on apprenticeships, and better cooperation between the National Apprenticeship Office and SOLAs and the ETBs, to provide duplication and indeed confusion as well. And we've even mentioned maybe a central application system for, like, something similar to the CAO for apprenticeships, so make it easier for young people or people of any age to progress into an apprenticeship and to find out all the information. Just as a complete, I just want to mention one company who are Cavan-based. It's Celtic Working Platforms Limited. They're involved in scaffolding. They won the Small Employer Award in the last year's 2025 Apprenticeship Employer of the Year Awards in December. So I want to congratulate them and acknowledge what they've done. Scaffolding only became an apprenticeship in 2021. So I just want to acknowledge the work that this particular company has done in employing young people and people of all ages to actually take up scaffolding. It's something that needs training in, because it can be very dangerous, and I'm delighted and welcome the fact that it is now an apprenticeship. Thank you.